Okay, so I'm going to put these ones on back right here. Make sure you get that underneath, put your washer on top. This will be a lot easier if you can figure out some way to brace it down or to lay it down and or have somebody help you. Now on the back side here I cleared it off, and you can see that's where one of the other washers are. I think that's the 1 1¼ inch washer, and I haven't tightened that one down, just got it in there loose. And so you'll put it in this hole there. Now the reason I do put washers on this back side is, like I mentioned earlier, it did pull through before, and this is where I had to weld it and then grind it back down. So you'll want to put washers on this back side to prevent them from pulling through, and put the bolts all the way through, so you can put the nut on this side, on the side facing upwards. I got these on here. Now you want these tight. You can do them as tight as you want, and it's not going to affect them just because they have the washers and then they have that piece underneath of it. So that's not going to affect it. Now, what you want to do, like I said, I think this was the original hole, but I can't be for sure on that. But right here, it's about a finger's width right here to where you want to do that. And basically, to mark the place you want to drill, just get a small, I don't know if I showed you earlier, just get a small nail, sharp nail, and that way you can just mark, you know, where you want to go, make an X or whatever. Put over there, an X marks the spot, that's where you want to drill. That's kind of where you want to be at. And the way I figured this out here is I actually got everything kind of put together. So what I did is I put the spring on the back here first, and I'll do that, and then I'll show you where to put your spring on here. This one doesn't matter yet, we'll do this one last. Now as far as this one goes, I basically I just kind of had to do this by play. I don't remember if I had actually drilled this hole first. I think I did. I think I drilled this one, so we can't use that as a reference point. So we'll have to look at this one right here. And let me give you the measurement. Where I'm at right here, the measurement looks like it's about 1 inch and a half from the edge of the mount for the spindle assembly to where the center of that bolt is. So it's about 1 inch and a half. Now it's going to be different. It's going to be different for you, possibly depending on your deck configuration. Okay, so here's another thing before we go any farther. This is what you're going to use your zip ties for, because no matter what, even after you get this configuration on there, it's still pretty good, but you had some sound and had a little bit of vibration, and this spring may pop off. Now this is the spring that's going to go back right here on this one. This one's going to hold most of the weight, and like I said, you may be able to get away with only doing one spring. I had an extra one, so I used it, and it seems to do the trick. Back support spring, what you want to do, this will help damper the vibration. Now these zip ties are really effective, and they'll probably last forever. And what you'll do, here, let me set this down, is you're going to have to get somebody else to help you with this. And see, mine are kind of towards the end. I don't really think it matters where you do it. And see, I use 2 of them here. And they're 2 widths apart. And so anyways, what you'll do is you'll bend that like that. Sorry, it's not really focused. And then you're going to slip it inside, and then at the same time you're going to open it back up on the other side and kind of pull it around, and this will be the result. And see, I did 2 of them here after I did the blue one. I went ahead and did the yellow one all the way on the outside, and then I clipped it off. So anyways, figure out some way to get the zip ties in there so they won't come out, and that will take care of your vibration. I noticed as I was going through and mowing after I first got this on, everything was working great except this spring started popping off, which then would make the whole belt loose. So what you're going to want to do is one of 2 things. Either you're going to want to make this loop smaller, like I did. See, this is the original loop size. See how it's kind of hooked in there like that? So you might want to crimp it somehow. I think I used vice grips. And so anyways, you'll get that in there, and so it's tight. And you may even get it through and then try and tighten it from this side, but I think that might be a little bit hard. And so it's tight. I mean, it's hard to get in there, and it kind of quicks when it comes into place. So you want to get it tight, but not too tight, because if you do this too tight, it's going to be hard to open it back up. You'll have to get needle nose pliers in there and kind of lift it out like that. So anyways, it'll go in like this, it'll hook in that way, and then you'll just move your spring back over and get it out. Right here, to get this back on like that, you may have to kind of bend the spring to get it back in place the way you want it. Okay, so with that being done, now see, this will hold the spring this way. Kind of zoom out so you can kind of see. So that'll hold it that side really good. We'll do that one in a second. Now, this one here, this is your black spring. Now the best way to get this one on is to pull this out like this, loop it in there, and then we'll hook it on like that. Kind of loop it on. Sometimes you have to push it into the center of the spring first, and then the loop will catch on the back side. Anyways, work with it, it'll go in. Now, I know this is probably overkill for a lot of you, but there's a lot of people that haven't done anything like this before, and they really can't pay anybody to do this, so I'll just show you how to do it. So by now, hopefully you've got your bolt in place right here, and hopefully you've got it in about the right spot. If it's pretty close, it should work. It's not going to be too sensitive, just as long as you've got, as long as you're pretty close to this edge here, like I showed you earlier, because you are going to be putting pressure on it and pulling it this way towards the PTO. So now we're going to do this one on. Let me kind of zoom out so you know exactly where I'm at. It's from this side here. You've got this hole, and I think I gave you the measurement earlier as far as where that is, how far over that is. Now that's going to be approximate. Now the way you're going to figure this out, to make sure this is the right way, let me see if I can get this on here. There's not tension on this yet, but it's tight. I mean, because everything's going to be pulling forward anyway. So you can see right here, this is mainly a secondary support spring. This one's going to be taking the most of the vibration, which is why we put these zip ties in right here. So, and this one right here, you probably, after you've drilled this hole, before you put this bolt in there, put these nuts all the way up as high as they can go, but give enough room. I hope you can see this, it's kind of blurry. Give enough room for this to sit in there. So I just got 2 of those just regular nuts and put them on there. And make sure you put, this is where those other 2 washers went. You put a washer here, and you put a washer on the back side. And I don't remember if I told you, but make sure you put washers here on the top as well. The big ones go here. You've only got 2 of those, but you've got 4 of these washers, and these are the smaller ones. So you put 2 of those washers, the smaller ones, on the back side, on the underneath side, because it's too big. These are too big to go on the underneath this side. So just put this right here, and you'll be good. So we're going to put the belt back on, and that way we can make sure that we've got tension on here. If you need to know, there should be a schematic. If not, we'll zoom in on this so you can kind of see. This is how it was supposed to be originally, and we've still got a pretty similar configuration. So let's put this belt on. See where the belt on here, and as you can see, oops, I almost have it on here. Make sure it's on in all the grooves. Make sure it goes back like this and this way. Now check your belt. You probably want to replace your belt if you've had a lot of vibration, just because if it's a poor belt and it's worn down on the edges like mine were, it might just, I don't know, just look and see. You might want to replace it though, because if it is too worn down, it might just pop off. So anyways, it's kind of hard to do this. I'll hold it at the same time. But basically you want to pull this like this and make sure you've got tension, and you can see your springs moving here. You can kind of see where that tension is going to be. Now this spring here, you want to lift that up, because when you put it on the PTO, you want that spring to be tight, so you want it up as high as it can go underneath of the bolt head. So it's going to be right underneath that bolt head there. And so anyways, get this on here like this, and then we're going to put it on the mower. Okay, so I'm just going to put this back on here, and it should just slide back in. Like I said, make sure the belt's on there where you want it, where you need it to be. And I guess I should turn the tire. Had to move the tractor earlier. Now I hope this isn't too much detail for a lot of you, but I just wanted to make sure that I explained it very clearly. People that haven't done this before, it is kind of complicated. It can be. Now, once you get that in there, first thing you want to do is you want to hook this front part up. We got to get it positioned correctly first. Okay, and then once you kind of pull on your belt, make sure everything's tight. Now this is going to be kind of a little complicated, just because we changed the belt configuration. When we put this belt on, it's going to kind of be like putting on a snowmobile. I just remembered on this one, actually, because of the way we did change the configuration on a little bit, we want to hook it up on the back first, which is going to make it so it's going to be a little bit trickier to put the belt on the PTO, but not really. Let me go ahead and get this on here. Got it on the back secured. Make sure that they're all the way through, and then it's in the center. There's a piece on the other side of this. Make sure it's in the center, make sure it's on the right. We'll make sure the other side is good still too. Okay, I have to pull on it, get it in position a little bit, and we'll make sure we can see the front's on there right too. Now, when we go over to this side, hopefully I can do this before my battery dies. You want to make sure that you check and look and make sure that the belt's on all the pulleys correctly. And I think I've done that. And once again, while you're doing this, reach back there with your hand and lift that spring up to the bottom of that bolt. That was that smaller one. Make sure it's up where it needs to be. Okay, so right here, now we're just going to kind of thread this on. Mine's actually had come off, it wasn't on there correctly, and it was twisted a little bit. So what we're going to do, I hope you can see this, is you put it in over here, and then you're going to reach on the back side, and you're going to spin. Once you get in here, you're just going to keep threading it, and you've got to hold it with your hand right here to kind of push it on. And so if you keep going around, it'll pop, and it's in place now. And now it's got enough tension on it, it's not going to come off. Now just double check, feel around, make sure everything's on there. That's a little complicated. You got to hold it with your front hand and keep your hand in the groove as you go around, while at the same time reaching around with the other hand and pulling it this way and spinning the PTO. And just spin it to the left. Okay, so looks like everything's okay. Now you got to check this, and if you notice, look right here, my belt's up here to the top of the pulley. It's right there, and my spring fell back down again, so I'm going to reach up. I'm going to reach in there. It's kind of dark. Sorry about that, apologize. I don't know if you can see that, but you just reach up and grab this is this spring and make sure it's up there to the top, the bottom of that bolt. And a good way to check this, if you're by yourself, is you got to make sure that the springs and everything's level. Now, I didn't show you earlier where the level of those pulleys, but if you look now, they're pretty even with this one right here, which was the cause of the problem. This one's still bent a little bit, but that's okay. It's not as bad as it was, so that kind of shows you where we're at here. And I didn't do that earlier, I apologize. But it shows you right here, everything's a little bit more level. Now, what you want to do, we're in first right here, the first level for the blade. Reach back up and pull it up to high. Now, I heard that it's always best to start your blade in high or fifth, and then once it's going, then lower it down into third. So I'm going to go ahead and back this up and start it up and show you. Now on mine, I'm not telling you to do this, but if you're like me, if you're aware of what you're doing and you're safe, you can do this. I've actually disabled right here. There's a seat, so if you get off of your seat, it just, the motor automatically shuts off. If you just unplug those right there, that won't do that anymore. And one other thing that's really annoying is when you're driving, and I've got a big yard, we got a big yard, lots of trees. It's really annoying if I have to, every time I back up, if I have to re-engage the PTO. And that was something I found that caused a lot of problems, was the going and stopping in the third level. So I'm not telling you to do this, but I think I came in here and I disconnected it right there. And that was for the PTO back there. I finally just got sick of it. That was from the PTO. I pulled it out from right there. If you can see that. Right there is where I pulled it out. And that enables me to back up and mow at the same time. I guess they passed a law because people weren't paying attention to what they're doing, run over people's feet or themselves. So anyways, we're going to back up, we're going to turn this on, we're going to look in there and make sure it's not vibrating. And another thing, if you can hear vibration and hear it bouncing around, you may have to put another zip tie in your spring just to damper that vibration a little bit. So we're going to start this up, back up, and
there you can see right here, very little light vibration.
Alright, so my battery died, but I just changed it to setting 3 to see where the vibration at. It was okay. I went ahead and put these back on, got all the bolts back in.